Have you ever thought about studying abroad, or you're already here wondering if you made the right call? This podcast is going to answer all the questions that you're not able to find on Google or anywhere else. I have 4 different students from different countries, different programs within University of San Carlos, all sitting down giving you a full picture of what it means to pack your entire life in one suitcase and live in Cebu City for studying. We're giving reasons why these students moved to Cebu for studying, the onboarding nightmares that no one really prepares you before stepping into the Philippines, and whether the whole experience is actually worth it. But before we step into this podcast episode, if you have any suggestions on what I can do in terms of content, please let me know in the comment section. I do read them thoroughly, and I do end up doing anything that you guys suggest inside the comment section. And with that, let's get into the episode. So hi guys, I have several guests on my channel today, and we're going to be talking about our experience studying at University of San Carlos. So for me, my name is Trinidad.Guzman. I am a 4th year financial management student at the University of San Carlos.
Hey, I'm Roy from USC, of course, from India, and I'm studying physics in USC.
What year?
Oh yeah, I'm 2nd year.
I'm Gabriel. I'm from the United States. I'm currently studying English language studies or linguistics, and I am 2nd year standing.
Hello, I'm Angel Shakya. I'm from Nepal. I'm currently studying Bachelor of Science in Nutrition and Dietetics, and I'm in 3rd year at the moment.
Hello, my name is Ocean Reem. I am a computer science student in San Carlos, and I am 3rd year standing, and I'm from France.
What made you choose Cebu out of all the other places that you guys can go study?
I actually grew up here in some way. I came here when I was 11 and been stuck here for like 9 years. By the time I was in grade 12, I had to choose a college, and I was planning to pursue abroad, but turns out it didn't really seem that feasible at the time, probably because I wasn't that good enough at anything yet. But I really wanted to pursue physics, so it was either UP Diliman, which is in Manila, and something I applied for. But then I also found out that there's USC physics, which is like also really good in the whole Philippines. So I thought, you know what, I might as well apply for this because it's nearby my house and everything. So I'm now in physics, and it's been great so far.
For me, I chose Cebu to study because 2 years ago, I came here on a trip with my father because he wanted to see what it's like to live here. I was set to actually go back to the States after the summer and go to college there. But when it came time for me to leave, I didn't really want to. I was like, if I stay, I'm gonna need something to do. I can't just do nothing. So I thought I would enroll in university here and just have that experience, I guess.
To be frank, the reason I chose USC because my sister is already here. But then I actually applied to 4 other universities in the Philippines, but they didn't recognize or they didn't validate my certificates. USC was the only one that validated it because they recognized my last name. So because of that, I'm in USC.
I chose Cebu because I was actually born in Thailand, right? And I've lived around Asia my entire life until I moved to the Middle East for near a decade. It was either going to college there, trying to find a scholarship or move to Canada, or come back to Asia. And I really missed Asia, so I decided, why not the Philippines? And one quick Google search, and San Carlos was actually one of the first results, and no looking back from there.
Did you know anything before arriving to Cebu? Did you do any of your guys' research besides schooling, like how it is here?
When I came here, I was a kid, so when my dad said, we're going to Cebu, I thought, wasn't it for me? I didn't really care much at the time because we just moved into another place in India, right? Uh-huh. So I didn't really mind shifting to another place because I didn't really establish myself there yet. But when I came here, the only thing I knew was the place is going to be pre-American compared to India, which is more British-like in many ways. One of the first issues I had was actually the language. Not because it's in English, because it was... aside from Bisaya, it was in American English. So a lot of the words, spellings and everything, I was like, what a problem, I'm already bad at spelling. When you see a different type of spelling and a different type of grammar in many ways, you're like, I'm having a hard time talking. The funny thing was, people thought that I was bad at English because of it. Then the good thing was that the English teacher, who also had a knowledge about the British English and everything, he was really nice to sort of tell my classmates, hey, listen, it's not like he's bad at it or anything. It's 2 different worlds, and you just guys got to understand him and everything. So that was pretty sweet,
For me, I did not personally do any research. I saw some videos, I guess, so I kind of knew what it was like here, but I didn't know any of the language. I didn't know the culture. Really. It's my dad who chose to come to Cebu, and I was very pressed on time, so I was like, I'll just go to USC.
I'm actually part Filipina. Stop! You guys knew that. But I was born and raised in Nepal, so my mom would just say like Philippines is much better, education, you can get your clothes there, you can get your shoes there. That's the first ever idea I had of the Philippines. When I actually decided, okay, I'm gonna go to the Philippines to study, it was mostly because I did get accepted in other universities outside of Philippines, but then it was very expensive. I started looking into Canada. There was one in there was one other in Sweden, I think.
Oh, so you're looking at other countries?
I was looking everywhere. I just applied to anywhere and everywhere, and I got in a few of them. So I know I was so happy, but but then I couldn't afford it. So sadly,
So your cheapest option was the Philippines.
Yeah, and also again, I mentioned earlier my sister was already here,
Yeah.
sibling discount. Am I right? But then that was the first initial thought I had of the Philippines. But then the idea of what my mother said is from another island, not Cebu. So I didn't expect Cebu to be like this. Like you said, we have British English in India and Nepal. So when I came here, that's when I realized, oh, American English texts differently. They have different spellings. And I found out it's because they did not want to use excess ink for newspapers. It's so much hotter than I expected. Even now, I'm already sweating from my elbows for some reason. You can see it. Look, that's a sweat.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Can the camera see it?
No.
Oh, there we
You need
go.
to pay for it.
Whoa!
I would like to say that I have done research about the Philippines, but sadly not as much as I would have liked. As soon as the borders opened in Philippines, we had to rush immediately because we didn't know if the Philippines would close their borders again. It was very strict over here. So it was more of a go, go, go mentality. Just pack up your things and go immediately. We booked the flight like under a week. And I was just out. But I did know about some things about the Philippines before because, as I said, I was in a lot of other Asian countries before. There's always that one Filipino in every friend group, and they're always like the funniest, the kindest. They always like to share their humor, their food, everything. And I was like, I'm always having like such a good experience with Filipinos, and I'm not gonna say that they're everywhere, but you can't really miss them. They really are everywhere. So I always I always had a good impression of the Philippines. So I was like, why not? I love Filipinos, so why not visit the Philippines and make better friends here?
We're going to be transitioning now to your guys' personal experiences with our schools. How was like the onboarding process from like the visa to the enrollment to housing? What were things that were working and what were like some frustrations that you guys experienced? Yeah.
But the funny thing was, since I'm an international student, so a lot of the USC stuff, or like a lot of college stuff, had to be considered because so far I was on dependent visa. Someone has a work visa, and if they go to another country, they're working there. Family members, like the spouse or like the children, or even in some cases, such as even the parents of the worker who live there, they'll get a dependent visa because they're related to the worker, and the worker's got his family, so they're gonna settle there and everything. So I was under that, and the whole time it was really the office or the company that would just do the whole visa stuff. 5 months, which is actually pretty fast. It's such a joke, like imagine 5 months being a fast amount of time for visa processing. So we really got a lot of help with that. But the moment we went to college, since I'm an international student, they'd like check, is he gonna get a student visa now? Because no more is he gonna be a part of dependent stuff. The law, I think, says that by the time you're 21, you can stay till dependent. After you're 21, then you gotta go for student visa or whatever you get. It's either that, or I have to speak and maybe talk to some people. Be like, hey, listen, I'm just here anyways. Might as well give me a dependent visa for more time. And
For me, the onboarding process when I first enrolled into USC, it all went pretty quickly and pretty well, but there were some things that were initially really confusing. I did not bring any of my school documents from the US because I wasn't planning to go to college here. So I did have to get those shipped, and that took a few months, but they did allow me to actually enroll anyways because I was able to provide them with photos, and then they just waited for the documents. And then for my student visa, I think that took like 6 months. And they take your passport, so then you have no passport.
For me, I applied it online, of course, right? And then I was accepted around May 2023.
Oh, cool.
So then, they told me the last entrance exam I could take was July 24. I know. Yeah. You didn't? I think they started only after the pandemic, like.
Wow.
Yeah, what a fake.
I took the entrance
I didn't have to
Yeah.
take it. They just wanted me to give a proof of that my sorry. They just wanted to give me proof of like that letter. So they wanted me to write it and then get it endorsed by our what is it called? The principal. But I didn't have to take an entrance exam. That was actually one of the reasons why I chose USC.
had the letter and I had to take the exam.
Yo.
You were from the States and you had to.
No, like a letter stating that my school was taught in English. Did you have the same thing? No?
need to do that.
No, and I was in Egypt.
What? Okay.
I was-
But like I'm from the States too, so like I don't understand. Wow. Yeah, because they didn't tell me about the entrance exam. I actually just avoided that. I was supposed to go to UP. But then I found out that they had an entrance exam, and I'm like, it's very similar to the SAT. So I'm like, I'm not gonna take it then. I'm gonna just come here. So I didn't take them. Yo, you're really smart.
Egypt, I'm fine actually. But yeah, I had to take the SATs because obviously I'm in the American division. And if I want to be in American accredited schools outside of Egypt or anywhere in the world, you should provide your SATs or your ACTs. And usually you do the SATs first, and then you see your score, see what you need to improve in, take a couple tuitions. Then, no, like we didn't have a pre-SAT. We had like, you only have like 4 tries, right?
Skipped her entire.
SATs.
Yeah, it's 3 for us.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's 3. But Egypt kept having like a cheating scandal, so America was like, you know what, we're never
type of
having the
cheating?
SAT. Oh, they were just having like 600s across the board.
Oh, the test.
Yeah, perfect scores. And it's like, what? And apparently like professors were selling their SATs, like the SAT answers or the exams before.
So I got accepted in May of 2023, and then the last exam I could take, shut up, was July 28, 2023. So I had only 2 months to get my recommendation letters, my grades, my certificates, my red ribbon documents, and my whatever else I needed. I forgot already. But then it took me 1 month to get all my school stuff fixed. So I had only 1 month left, and then that's when I took my tickets, and it was already so expensive. But then that was July 24 I got here. My entrance exams on 28. So the only reason I could get here on time was because I didn't have to take the tourist visa, because I had the balikbayan visa because my mom's Filipino, right? I just bypassed immigration. Yeah, I just directly went to Irio and I said, I'm accepted, help me with my visa. So because my mama was there, the process was quick. The next year when she retired, that's when we had most of our problems. That was my onboarding process, and the only reason I could find a place very quick was because my sister already had a place. So I just went directly to her place, and then I shifted right after she left.
I would say my papers being sorted for coming here was pretty straightforward. I think I'm lucky to be privileged, like I didn't have that much papers to sort through, except for one, which was my birth certificate. In France, I don't think you can have any signature or writing on the birth certificate, but the when we went to the Philippines embassy, they wanted the French embassy to sign on the birth certificate to show that it's a legit one and not a copy. But it's like, no, you're gonna have the copy. We're gonna keep the original birth certificate. The copies are signed by the embassy, not the original. But they said, no, we need the original to be signed as well. That was the issue, because it's like, do I go against your laws or my country's laws? Because what is happening right now? But luckily, we were able to get that sorted, just have a second birth certificate. That is signed. Yeah, after that, coming here, pretty straightforward. I had a relative over here, so we already had a house set up. After a year, we had to move out because it wasn't structured properly after the typhoon. There were malls that didn't even exist when I came here because they were basically gone. When my relative was here, he wanted to go to the airport. Sorry, not the airport. He wanted to go to a hotel. He went with Google Maps, whatever that was loaded. There was no data. He went there. The hotel was gone. He was like, where's the hotel? I didn't understand all the medical things you needed to do for the visa. Like stool sample, everything sample, criminal records, okay, sure. double check the criminal record. Pretty sure I'm forgetting a lot of things because that was a real weird blur. After that, you don't need to redo it a second or third time. As soon as you get your student visa, smooth sailing from there. But they will take your passport 5 months or 6 months at a time, sometimes 7. And that is the strangest thing because I have been to multiple different countries before. All I had to do was be enrolled, go to the Bureau of Immigration of the country, show that I'm enrolled, and then they're like, okay, yeah, you have a student visa and you have it stamped on your passport. At most, the process would take 1 month, but they don't need to keep your passport. You had it with you and you would go to these places. But over here, they like to keep your passport, so make sure you have photocopies, you have pictures and everything in case you need it for any other reason.
I would also like to add that during my onboarding process, when I had to get my documents sent here, it was actually quite complicated from my memory because first of all, I was homeschooled and then I went to high school and then I went to college and then I came here. So I had to figure out like which documents, because when I graduated, I had like homeschool documents saying I graduated, then I had college documents saying I graduated, and I graduated in like December at a really weird time. I actually accepted my homeschool documents and my college documents. I sent them both, but I had to get them notarized first. So then I had to contact my mother to get them notarized and then send them. It took about 3 months, I believe, for them to get here. And then after that, I gave it to them. And then by the end of the first semester, I finally was able to actually hand it in. And they accepted me into the second semester. For the onboarding exam, we don't have those in the States for college. So I was completely unprepared. I had no idea what to expect. And so when I actually went to the campus to take the exam, I had not studied anything. Not to mention the difference in what's taught in the US versus here and what's going to show up on the exam. I ended up taking way too long. I don't know if I was even halfway through, but I ran out of time. I was like, oh. So because I failed the exam, when I went to talk with the department chair, they were like, you failed. You can't go into computer science, but we can put you into information systems, and the next semester you can shift. So I had 1 semester of information systems. I shifted to computer science, and then after I shifted to computer science, I then shifted to linguistics.
He was supposed to be my thesis partner. Imagine that.
Oh.
And he left. And he left like a last second.
Well, so I'm the only one that didn't take an entrance exam then.
No, I did not take an entrance
Okay.
exam.
So for you guys that did, what was the material?
Oh shit, my bad.
Did they give you study material? Did they tell you what was going to be on the exam?
No. I didn't know anything about the exam before I took it.
They didn't tell you oh, you're going to have an entrance exam, you need to prepare with this material?
As far as I remember, no, but that could also be because I was so rushed that maybe I was beyond the point that material is given out, because by the time I was actually, I think that was a week before class was starting or something crazy like that. So
you had July 28th, the last one.
yeah, I guess, because it was a week later. I was already starting.
Oh, okay. I mean, I wasn't handed any material for the entrance.
So what was on the exam?
One thing you should know, for international students, it's mostly a formality. For me, it was. Because I already had the English proficiency certificate.
Yeah.
So I didn't really need anything else besides my GPA from my previous higher secondary level education. They didn't hand me any materials for the entrance exam, but they did tell me that because my course is more medical, all I have to take is the Q test and the English test. That's it.
Been an international student my entire life, so I'm basically a pro at this. Yeah. Entrance exams, they're basically the overall knowledge that you've obtained in the previous year. So you have to catch up on your quadratic formula, all of these things. And even though it's not going to be used in the upcoming year, they just want to know that you actually passed properly and that your grades are not faked by your teachers or whatever. Because sometimes students are favorited, or the parents could say, can you just bump it up so they can get into this school in another country. My entrance exam in Egypt, they did not give me the year before, but they gave me the year of. So that was the first time I ever failed my entrance exam. And then I went home and my dad bought me like a textbook like and a workbook to study from, and then I passed the entrance exam, went to school, and then I was like, wait a second, now I know the entire material for this entire year because they gave me the entrance exam for the year that I want to go.
Relatively different experience since I was already here. I actually did not really expect any entrance exam at first, but then I took the UPCAT and that went well.
What is that?
So the UPCAT is like this, for the UP, University of the Philippines, they have a different test. And I think different colleges will have their own entrance exams. So UPCAT is like the SAT of the Philippines in many ways. So when I took it, I was like, okay, well, this is good. I think I'm prepared for USC test, which I took during June, I think. So when I went, I didn't study anything except I actually did study the IQ test because I was interested in the IQ test. And I usually get good scores in this IQ test. I was pretty excited for that. So the only thing I studied was really the IQ test, just looked up a lot of those official sites and just practicing them. On the day of the exam, it was horrible because it goes from around, I think, 8 a.m. all the way to like 4 p.m. It is a long exam, and it comprises of math, English, sciences. Let's say you have Filipino, then you have the IQ test itself, then you have some other type of... In the Philippines, you have the STEM, ABM, and the Hume's thing, which is basically science, economics, and finances, and humanities and arts. So since I was in STEM and I'm applying for a STEM degree, which is the physics degree, I was put into that, STEM area. So first test they gave me was the English test. All right, that went well. The second test that happened was a Filipino test. I'm like, oh, well, what the hell am I going to do here? So I just sat down the whole time watching everybody take it. I'm like, all right, and I'm just going to fail this one. Got no choice. The third test was math. And the math one was funny because in the Philippines, we learn the math usually in the metric system, or at least how it's taught in the K-12 system here. Whole test was in imperial, or like the American units. And I was like, well, shit, what am I going to do now? The STEM test, I feel like, was the easiest one. Unlike the previous test where you just repetitive, questions. Those are the ones that are like, oh, well, it's fun. Not as hard as UPCAT for sure, but it was fun. The next one was the IQ test. I was like, all right, you know what? I'm excited for this one, but I was already pretty tired at the time. I was already, around 2 p.m. It's like a 2-hour test, the IQ test. I'm like, oh, well. So I just sat down and, okay. Wasn't able to finish it. So when the chairman of the physics department, he saw this, he said, it really doesn't matter whatever this test is, because the real test is the semester itself. So a lot of people, they'll do really good in the entrance exams, even if it's UPCAT or even if it's SATs or anything. But it's really the semester where they take their introductory courses where they actually realize, oh shit, you know what, I might not be built for this. And I actually saw some of my classmates had to leave physics. So I'm really fortunate. I
really didn't talk too much about me because I'll probably just do it in a separate video. No one warned me about is how kind of vague it is with their instructions. They tell you to do one thing and then you do it, and then they ask you for another type of document. Instead of just telling you like a list of everything that you need to get done, they just do that back and forth thing, and that's quite frustrating. And on top of that, it also consumes so much of a person's time, especially since we're kind of all on visas and we have like deadlines to meet with the government. Sometimes the school doesn't even like to budge, and it's kind of like, oh, it's your problem type of thing. And there's no leeway sometimes. Sometimes they're strict, sometimes they don't care too much about the rules. In the Philippines and also in the school system. And another thing is that they use Facebook for like everything. Yeah, Facebook for government stuff. Facebook, group chat. You have group chats with your professors in class, and you have group chats with different groups that you have within the classrooms. So yeah, no one really uses like formal communication tools like, Google.
pigeons.
The pigeon. So like if Facebook were to ever crash, the Philippines would definitely be screwed.
For sure.
Like even for businesses, they use it for everything. Those are my things that really did not prepare me for coming to live here in the Philippines, and also studying at University of San Carlos.
Besides the other things that I'm sure you guys are gonna say, shut it. One thing that I did not expect for me is how casual the teachers are with the students.
Casual, what do you mean by that?
So for me in Nepal, we have a very formal way of addressing our teachers. When a teacher comes into class, we all stand up and say, "Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am." And then when they're about to leave, we stand up again and say, "Thank you, sir. Thank you,
It's
ma'am."
like a sign of respect.
Yeah, it's a sign of respect, basically. But then it goes to a point where it's routine, like conditioned into the students. I don't want to say it like it's an experiment or something, but it was conditioned into us as students. Like we need to have a certain morale,
Usually you'd have a team lead, a class leader that would say, "Oh, stand
Yes.
up, oh, speak,
Exactly.
good morning." Everyone.
I mean,
speaks at the
we
same
didn't
time.
really have the class leader to say it now or something. We just said it all at the same time.
Yeah.
We don't even need a class leader to have a cue
Sometimes,
for that.
yeah.
But then, so if you were to address a teacher in Nepal, we'd say, excuse me, ma'am. And then it's all formal thing. Every conversation is very formal. I just noticed how the teachers are like laughing and being like, "Oh, don't do that," Does that, you know what I mean? But then how casual they are with the students. It was just one of the culture shocks for me.
Like they would sometimes make sexual jokes during classrooms with each
exactly.
other.
Yeah, that too.
And I'm like, isn't that
Inappropriate?
That could be even a case of harassment. But over here, everyone is laughing. They would ask you straight up like, "What are you doing with your boyfriend? Do you have protection?" It's like, oh
that's
dear.
very invasive.
But yeah, we would think it's invasive, but then it's always used like as a joke. They don't really want to know, but they will always use it in passing.
Yeah.
But then over here, I guess sometimes they are also like warning you better use fucking protection because apparently it is an issue over here.
Yeah, there's
The teen
high
pregnancy.
spike of HIV.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
that too,
Yeah.
and also the no abortion rule. But that's a different thing. That's a different topic. And also, not to mention that there is literally this drinking place right in front of our school. So after the teachers are done, the students are done, they all collectively go together and you're drinking with your teachers.
It's normally with like exam after exams.
Yeah.
For an exam,
Not even
or after the
after
semester,
exams.
which is casual.
Not even after exams. Like, I'm not gonna say that the teachers come in hungover, but definitely the students too. And then the teachers can tell, and the teachers are fine with it. They make jokes, but as long as you're dressed well,
That's ironic.
Yeah, as long, attendance, you're dressed well, and you're getting good grades. Because apparently there is this thing. It's a huge culture shock for me because I don't drink at all. Like, that's not the background I came from, and I choose not to drink. However, over here they're like, "Oh, you should take at least a couple. You should take an entire bottle of Red Horse before your exam just to study."
What?
Damn.
That's a thing here.
Does that help?
Instead of energy drinks, they use Red Bull because it helps you study. And then they come to class. At least my classes, they come to classes like hungover.
Okay, not in ours, thankfully.
No.
Well, sorry guys. Maybe I'm in a
That's
different
what I'm saying. Like it's good that we have like.
drink. And I only know this because I remember I would tell people, "Oh, I don't drink," and they're like, no, come over, this, that. You might fall into peer pressure, but if you give your reasons, they will actually, they will let go. They will let go of it. But that is a culture shock over here. They really love to drink over here.
Yeah, a lot.
It was a weird time because when I was a kid, when I was here, I didn't really go out of the house a lot. So I guess it's either school, back home, and 2 or 3 kids in my neighborhood because I lived in the city area. I guess as a kid, you don't really have a lot of culture things to think about much, because you got better things to think about, like the next episode of Pokemon or something. But so by the time it was like grade 11, grade 12, and then then college, I wasn't really ready of how people my age hard to talk to. Like you could approach a bunch of people and be like, "Hey, could you help me with this?" And they're like kind of stuck there for like a few seconds because they weren't really anticipating for someone to approach them. And I think that happens a lot here in Cebu, especially where the people here, especially in the city or like the young folks, like to keep it to themselves.
Yeah, they're very reserved.
But at the same time, it's not like they're reserved because they want to be reserved. They're kind of reserved because they're too scared to really confront or maybe approach people.
They're non-confrontational.
Exactly, and then that becomes a problem because sometimes you approach someone, you want to make friends with them or talk, even joke with them. It'd be better to hear a no from them than to just hear an awkward silence. So that becomes a problem. So I really wasn't prepared for that because in college, I want to make friends. So I just go up to people and be like, "Hey, how you doing?" Nobody responds right away, and it's partly because again they're non-confrontational. So I'm kind of curious at first, how do people make friends here? Because people got to make friends to live. Turns out you just have classmates and you just stick to whatever circles you make over there. It's a bit depressing in some ways. Imagine not being able to talk to strangers because you're too scared of confrontation. I remember my friend saying this one time. She wanted to sort of approach someone for wearing a T-shirt of their favorite band, but they didn't because they thought it'd be too cringe. And I'm like, why would it be too cringe? Because both of you like the same band, both of you clearly, show signs. Go approach to her, but she's like, "No, I feel like I'm invading her."
Was it hard to make friends here for you guys?
For me, no.
No? Do you have more foreigner friends, or do you have Filipinos, or is it mixed?
I have no friends.
For me, I have mostly, honestly, at this point, probably Filipino friends because I spend a lot of time with my with my batchmates, and I do get like, especially in the department I'm in. Actually, I guess it's largely dependent on department. Definitely, like there's different cultures per department, but mine is like communications, linguistics, and literature. The majority is communications, so they're all super like extroverted and talkative. They'll just come up to me and start like talking to me or something. I know like a lot of people in my building. I don't know. For me, people have always like usually approached me first and like they want to be my friend or something. That's been my experience.
So the one thing I did struggle with USC, as was mentioned before, was how vague it was. The enrollment process was very weird because I was like, okay, I'm done with all my papers. I'm gonna enroll now, and they're like, oh, you have to do it online. That was the first time I've ever enrolled by myself online.
You mean online? So
Like-
you had all your physical documents?
No, I'm already enrolled, like I'm already in the school, but I have to enroll in subjects online.
Oh, okay.
But I already gave you the course I wanted to, can't you just put me in a class? They say no, you have to either choose your classes or choose the batch that's you most prefer. That was confusing to me. I enrolled and I'm in a batch, and I wasn't able to pass this one hard course. So that's why I'm an irregular now, because I had to re-enroll in that course. However, no one told me that I could enroll in other subjects of different years. So I found that out quite late, and I was basically how do you call it? Like when, not irregular, but yeah, underloaded. Basically, you don't have the full load of your courses entirely. See, if they had like all of this out, but unfortunately, if they expect you to know, like, oh, you came to this school or you're in this country, you're expected to know all of this, even though the information wasn't really online. It wasn't discussed at all with the professors. They just say, oh, you failed, it's okay, just try again next time when it's available. And we're like, oh, sure, okay, we can try during summer. But they didn't explicitly tell you don't have to just follow the schedule as it's given you. You can still choose other courses to take, even though it's in different years. So I've been trying to make up for the courses that I've missed, and I still don't understand why every semester, not even every year, every semester, it's done online. So the entire school population will come online at the same time, break the entire website, and no one can enroll unless you're lucky. And then if everything is full, well, you can ask your proctor to maybe extend the classroom to put you in, or you wait another semester to be added in, even if you haven't failed any subjects, because sometimes they have more students they enroll than they can actually put in capacity, like they've already reached max capacity. However, they say, oh, we understand you want to be in a batch, but that batch is already full with someone that's irregular, you know. So it makes no sense. You have to do that course in a different semester, which makes you irregular already, and then you need to wait for summer, and then you're gonna graduate late. Unless they have the classes offered in summer, yeah, it's not guaranteed. I'm pretty sure I have a different one. As for friends, at first I had more Filipino friends than I had foreign friends, but it was quite a novice thing because, as I said in the beginning, I was in a batch, but then after I was out of that batch, I became an irregular student. So all of my classes had different students, completely different students. So I was added in multiple different group chats, and each year I'm meeting new people, which is actually quite fun because you can collect some new people here and there. You don't have to just be surrounded by the same faces, yeah, for a couple years. But you keep reintroducing yourself. You're still the new person. You're still the new foreigner that they haven't met, and then they help you around for a bit, but then you lose your novelty, and then it's like, well, I'm alone here again. So the first few friends that I've made in the beginning, we kind of like drifted away because obviously they're in different courses and I'm in different courses, so we could never find time to meet with each other. Their friends, like those group of friends, they can meet with each other because they're doing the same group projects. For me, I'm doing a completely different group project. But I have found my family here with other foreigners that have similar like experiences as well. And I think it's easier for me to hang out with foreigners because there is just like a lot more to relate to sometimes. So if you feel a little homesick, you have someone that understands why you're homesick. You know, you can explicitly share what you're feeling inside, and it takes away from the loneliness. Like, this country is very beautiful, the people are very beautiful, but it's just something that they can't reach. So you do have another family here that can understand you as well.
As has been mentioned before, vague, like everything is vague. Anything to do with school is vague. Your assignments are vague. You don't know what to do half the time. You don't know what format. You don't know. Sometimes you might not know the date. Sometimes you might go to class and you're like, oh, we have a quiz today? I didn't know that. School events that you might need to attend. Again, vague. They'll give you the date, but not the time. And then later they'll give you the date, but it's already like the day before. A few days ago, I nearly missed my final for PE because I was told it was Saturday. Or no, it was Friday. Then it got moved to Saturday. Then it got moved to Friday, but no one told me it got moved to Friday. So I took an exam in the morning, and then I'm walking down to go out, and I notice my classmates are in the basketball court, like doing PE. And I'm like, oh wait, did I miss it? Turns out I was supposed to be there at 7 a.m. Luckily, I was still able to sign attendance, and then I had to rush home to get like my correct attire and then come back. Things like that just kind of happen here, and you just get used to it, I guess. For me, it's kind of become like, oh well, it's just life at this point. Similar to that, everything is like very slow. Enrollment is a mess every single semester because the site gets overloaded and then it shuts down. No one can enroll. And then depending on departments that are like more, like my department now, especially my program is very small, so there's very few of us. So enrollment isn't that big of a deal. Like previously when I was under computer science, that department has a lot of students. When enrollment started, try to enroll, you usually wouldn't be able to, so then you would go there and wait in line from the morning until they close at like 4 o'clock or 4:30, whenever it was. And they have a lunch break from like 12 to 1:30, so then you have to wait. Yeah, you never skip the lunch break.
Sometimes they're like, emergency meeting, and now everyone has to they need an emergency meeting because a lot of people are like, we need to enroll in this class right in this semester, otherwise we have to wait another semester to graduate. But they don't want to offer that course, but then a lot of people are fighting for it. The teachers are like, the parents of these students are like, come on, we pay for this school, why are you delaying why are you delaying my children's graduation? So then they need to have emergency meetings and be like, should we open this class? Because if we open this class, it means that we have to dissolve a different class. And if we dissolve that class, that's going to cause problems. So they keep having like meetings. So the students that are part of the department, they will have to come out and be like, sorry guys, the proctors are not available today until the rest of the day because of an emergency meeting. Come back tomorrow. And sometimes they give you like this priority queue, but then sometimes that's useless. So I'm like, I see that my number is 120 and the last number was like 30. So I'm just gonna wait like until the afternoon, because no way am I gonna skip I'm gonna fast the entire day just to keep my spot. No, but then people are like, Ocean, where are you? Like, just show up. So again, it's vague. Why can't you say you're not using the priority queue anymore? So they don't want to. Yeah, I'm still in this system, by the way.
Or in those departments, it's normal to have to like wait all day in line, and then you get nothing done. You go home, you come back the next day and do it again. My department now is not like that, thankfully. It's still hard to enroll sometimes because of the system going down.
Sometimes another issue that comes up for me is that we have an allotted time for the online enrollment, then we have an allotted time for face-to-face enrollment. So afterwards, for our department, which involves computer science, sometimes it extends 1 week, the face-to-face enrollment, like an extra week or an extra 2 weeks, because not everyone is enrolled yet. Another week or an extra 2 weeks. So we're not going to class, we're just sitting out all in this hallway. And then, so for the classes that I've already enrolled, but I haven't gone to yet, because I'm still keeping my spot, I'm guarding my spot with my life. And then, when the enrollment period finishes, I finally go to that classroom, and then they're like, you have a couple absences. And it's like, yes, you started the class, but for me, it was still enrollment period. I couldn't go to your class. I was afraid that if I went to class, spot would be missed because they say if you have a priority queue number and you are called and you don't show up, we will skip over you. You will go back to the end of the line. And I didn't want that. So it's either a couple absences and risk being dropped out because 2 weeks is already 4 absences. You have a maximum of 7. Yeah, you can risk being dropped out, or don't enroll in all of your classes and be underloaded. Just have like 3 classes for an entire semester.
And extend your education.
Yes, which costs a lot of money. Yeah.
For me, I'm just glad I don't have to go through whatever you guys are talking about for enrollment.
Not experience any.
No, for me, the only reason I don't have to do that is because I also go through the isthmus, shutting down and shit.
That, yeah.
Yeah, everybody does, right? But then for us, my batch is very small. We have only one batch and it's not even 20 people. So the chair is able to enroll us by themselves. So we don't really have to worry that much.
But also about enrollment, similar to what Angel was saying, my batch is also very small. So like I already said before, enrollment isn't that big of a deal for us, and we can just go to the department chair usually. Honestly, to me, in my experience, it seems like a lot of how your experience will depend on your department, because it seems like smaller departments just have a better experience overall than larger departments like comp sci or something. Also, I just remembered, I was not expecting the workload to be the way it is. The workload here is much more about quantity, how much can you have at one time rather than actual difficult assignments. Back in the States, I would get assignments that were thorough but fewer of them, and sufficient time to work on each one of them. While here, honestly, 1 week you can be chilling and have nothing, and then the next week everything, and it's you have 3 assignments that are due in 2 or 4 days, get them done now. And then middle of the week you get another assignment, I want this in 2 days. It's ugh. And they're not even difficult assignments, it's just so much that it's hard to keep up. Even when you organize all of it in your mind, I'll do this and this and this, you get another one that throws all of that out of whack, because maybe that one is more important, so now you have to push this forward and do this one first before you do the rest of them.
Why is it that the minors are the ones with the longest of assignments?
Yeah.
That too.
I feel the same.
I had to make a whole film documentary for one minor subject, and I'm why are we going out into the woods? For me, yes, there is this joke that our course has the same thing just repackaged in a different name. Every year you will have some form of web development, but they will call it mobile development, web development 2, information management, which is just the back end, then back information management 2, which is all in different years, and then app development. Each of these courses require you to do 2 websites every meeting, so you have to finish it. I remember this professor is okay, make this one website today, finish it at the end of the class, then when you go home, finish 2 websites and make sure that it's formatted like this, and you add information. Make sure that everything, this page is accessible by this page, and you cannot use this certain code. They always like to catch you with something like that. You can't use the easiest way out. They're you cannot use this code, you have to use a different way. Then the next time it's now you can't use either of those ways, you have to use. I'm pretty sure when you're making a website, naturally they don't really care about this, but if it's one class, fine. I have done this about 8 times, 8 different courses. Imagine one class wants you to make 6 different websites in 1 week, and then you have all these other courses. You should pretty much have 9 courses per semester. So imagine all these other 8 courses are expecting the same thing from you. If you are a local student that has a family, you're not working, they're not expecting you to do groceries, cook, clean, whatever, you can go home and you can study and you can be the best student possible. If you have no mental issues, perfect. But if you have all these expectations to keep you alive, you need to do your laundry, you need to cook, you need to clean, you need to work, especially because what if you're working online? You cannot work in the Philippines if you're a foreigner under a student visa. But yeah, if you're working online just to support your tuition and your rent over here, that's gonna affect your courses. And some professors, they don't really give leeway. Your home time should be for studying. I didn't know this, but they do have night classes over here. They have classes all the way until 9 p.m. So if you reach home by 10 and you have classes by 7:30 a.m. the next day, find a way to finish all of your assignments. Another thing about the vagueness over here and trying to meander through it, there are a couple times where I have commuted to school and then I found out that, oh, it's actually a holiday. I'm asking people, is it a holiday? And then I go back home and then of course they're sleeping in, and 2 hours later they're like, yeah, didn't you check Facebook?
Oh my god, the mayor makes an announcement for no school, even private schools, and then the school has to post by the VPAA. Only then will we have a holiday, even if the mayor announces it.
I wish there is a system where everyone could be sent, like it's automatic, but you have to really rely on Facebook. I remember the first time I made my Facebook account, it was because it was the first online class I ever had. It was when lockdown was basically dissipating, but we were still having like online lessons. Yeah,
like when the borders were first open.
Yeah. So I remember like, how am I supposed to have my classes? So I kept like messaging the head of the international students or the head of my department, like, I'm sorry, how am I supposed to go into classes? They're like, oh, it's okay, the teacher is gonna send everyone a classroom link, so just wait for that. And I'm like, okay, thanks. So I waited for it, I received the link, then we all had our first class together. And then the professor was like, nice having this first introductory class with you. So everyone put your Facebook link in the chats so everyone can be added to the group chat. And I'm like, wait. So immediately with my phone, I'm making like a new account, setting up everything. They're like, do you want to sit with your email? Put your phone. I'm like, skip. So make sure you have that prepared. Yeah, and then that's how I was able to be enrolled in future classes, actually. Literally through Facebook, which is strange. They have this term here called nosebleed, and I was very confused for the longest time, because here I am just speaking, and then the teacher will look away. Everyone would be silent, and then the teacher scoffs and says something in Bisaya, nosebleed, and then everyone laughs.
I know what they say. They say, ay, kapo yan, nosebleed na oy sa English.
Yeah. Just a lot. And then now everyone is laughing, and then they're like, oh, it's just too much English, we don't. And I'm like, you don't say. Everyone is okay, what nosebleed means is that you're speaking in a different language and it's giving them a nosebleed.
Just hurts
draining
their
a lot
brain
of their like brain
to,
power.
Yeah.
To like translate from Bisaya to English.
But then that's the thing. Why don't they get it that if we do learn Bisaya, every single moment of ours is going to be translating everything in
We
our
are the
heads?
ones getting the nosebleed, no? As a foreigner, if you're visiting the Philippines and if you plan to stay here for a substantial amount of time, it is your duty to put in the effort to study Bisaya, because especially the Philippines, if you were in a different country, maybe there is some leeway. I'm not saying that there is an unspoken rule that you have to hear. It's more so the history that has been under a lot of colonialism. Year by year, they are losing their history. They're trying to regain it back, but they have lost basically their Filipino identity. A lot of their language now, or most of their languages are derived from their roots, but also heavily, not inspired, but also derived from Spanish words and also some Arabic words because of traders and stuff like that. Because there are a lot of Western settlers here, so they speak in English, they're American. Out of all the Asian countries I've been to, it is the most westernized country. It was actually very surprising to me because it's like the clothes, the food, everything. If you want something that is Western, you're gonna find it over here. It's not really pushed, the cultural food, the cultural language. So I feel like it's a duty as a foreigner to come here and then also share the language, share the experience, because you don't want to help it be more diluted. You want to be also a keeper of it.
About learning the local language here, I would say don't worry much about like studying it, because that's can be a very scary thing, especially when you're already overloaded with all of your schoolwork and stuff. I think it is good to at least look into the grammar, which is actually really simple. Like, it's not difficult to understand the basic grammar of a sentence in Bisaya. But other than that, I would say just when you hear it, pay attention. Like, try and pick out words and just listen. because over time you just naturally start to learn stuff, and especially if you have local friends who are trying to teach you things. I've been here 2 years and I'm only just now like starting to really learn. You do pick up things even if you don't know you're picking them up. So everything you hear goes somewhere and it sticks somewhere, and eventually it builds up enough that you understand what it means and how to use it without even knowing how you understand that.
Is your program worth it, and would you recommend it to students that come here?
100% yes. I feel like USC physics is very independent in many ways to what USC in itself is. And I feel like that's what most of the departments are, especially the niche ones. Planning to go for mechanical engineering, even applied it to Singapore. And I remember taking this interview with Singapore college people, forgot what college it was, but they were like, oh yeah, you can join, and you seem like you have a good credential and everything, you just got to take the test and you seem like you fit in right well. But I was like, I'm not sure with mechanical. Like, I don't feel like, something's up. Because I always loved physics anyways. But then USC made me realize that I can pursue physics. I mean, I kind of also gone to UP, but still, USC is actually really good. A fortunate luxury to be able to say that, That's your department, that's your course in a specific university is good. Especially when you hear a lot of other people complaining about their departments. You realize like, oh shit, like our people are so nice to each other, the professors are so much better. Lots of work with like complex systems and acoustics and med bio and quantum mechanics and all these things from industries in Hong Kong to Japan. And so I would 100% recommend physics. But if you're a foreigner coming to here for physics, I feel like you're better off just learning physics in itself where you're from. Partly because in my experience here in physics, you'll be learning physics here really well. It's the minors that really get you down. And I really believe that in foreign countries, especially in Europe, the concept of a minor is really bogus. Like they'll have like 4 or 5 majors at a time per semester.
Yeah.
Right. That's 14 units at most.
Yeah.
And they just focus with that the entire semester. We have like that. We have 4 to 5 majors, just like any physics degree would do. And you got like fucking 10 other subjects that are related to minors. It takes a lot of time. I really don't recommend it. But if you're, let's say, in Asia, and if you're in the Philippines, sure, come here.
So for me, I'd like to mention that my specific course, just to re-mention, nutrition and dietetics. One thing that I noticed is different from the other universities in Philippines is that BSND in USC has 3 major parts. First is hospital dietetics, of course. Second is food service system. And the third is public health nutrition. So compared to the other universities, USC offers all 3. And if you feel like you want to go for nutrition but don't know which sector, this is the best place for you. Because I feel personally that my most interested scope in nutrition is diet consultancy and maybe a little bit for the hospital dietetics. But then I know that if I were not to succeed in my first option, I have 2 more places that I can go for, which is food service and public health. So overall, yes, I would recommend BSND in the USC. I mean, if you have specifications, if you want to go for just hospital dietetics, there are so many other universities in the Philippines. But once again, if you want the option and the freedom to choose your own later on while being focused in nutrition, go for USC.
I'm in computer science in San Carlos. Would I recommend it? Both yes and no. For the reasons that even the professors give you on literally your first day of enrollment, introduction classes, I had this whole spiel given to me by a professor that's like, would say, a lot of people, I don't think I would see you in a couple weeks. I don't think I will see you next semester, and it's okay. Computer science is not for everyone. A lot of people do enroll in computer science because it is the new technological boom. AI is very popular now, so people want to rush into computer science, and it might be diluting the market a bit, but let's not talk about that. However, a lot of people, they go into computer science thinking, oh, I'm going to graduate for the money later on, but they don't realize like how hard it actually is while doing computer science. A lot of professors will not really encourage you because they're so used to seeing new faces over and over again. They have subliminally given up on their students. They don't really say it out loud. You do get that feeling, so it's like you do your work or you don't do your work. It is really up to you. I recommend computer science, yes, of course, if you are passionate, and not only passionate, but you have the head space where you can actually push through. Honestly, what I would recommend, you take a course but you do computer science on the side. Like you start up your own projects, because really a lot of things you do learn online. Wouldn't get the materials I have now if I haven't enrolled in college really, but everything will be online. It is accessible online. Of course, you will not be trained professionally. However, it really depends on your work ethic, if you think that you can finish everything within the allotted number of years, or if you feel like you can sacrifice some years. That, and also specifically in San Carlos, would I recommend? As I've said, the market is very diluted right now. Not only just the market, but inside San Carlos, I feel like they are enrolling more students than they can actually hold. Prioritize the first years more than they will prioritize the later years. So they will give them the classrooms, they will give them the professors. But then when we ask for our professors, our classrooms, they say, we just don't have enough for you. So you do have to find time to keep yourself occupied, or take a second course online, or start a business, or just do something with your free time really. It sounds a bit grim, but unfortunately that is the reality that a lot of students face. To add why computer science is worth it in San Carlos, when you do make it, you actually do make it, because San Carlos is affiliated with a lot of institutions in the world. As soon as you graduate, they want to invite you into their company as soon as possible. There are a lot of alumni that already have like 6-figure jobs, USD, not even Filipino pesos. So that is like the outcome. You might think like, why am I going through all of this? But really, there is the light at the end of the tunnel, which keeps me pushing through. However, like the others have said, what makes it worth it? Is it the family? Is it the people around you? No. As I've said, it sounds really bad, but as I've said, a lot of the friends that I have made, you might not ever see them again. Not because they died. No, it's because they're either in completely different batches, or they disappear to a completely different course. And then you catch up with them and you're like, what's happened to you? They're like, oh, I'm happier now in psychology. You might not be as happy, but you are a person that relies on seeing someone work hard. Like, it motivates you to work hard. If you rely on that motivation by proxy, computer science will not be it for you. You have to have that own drive. Yes, having a group that is serious will sustain you for a while, but everyone has their own learning curve, and computer science is very different because you don't have a textbook. None of us in computer science have a textbook to study from. Every time when you code, you're coding in your own language, in your own interpretation of that language. You can't just... Sure, you can steal someone's code, but it doesn't mean that you actually understand it. And San Carlos has a way of figuring out if you understand it or you're just copying. Choose your battles, basically.
For me, if you're already planning to study at USC, English language studies is a good course to go for, or really any course in the department. So either ELS, comms, or like literature or something. Mainly because, like, compared to larger courses like computer science, which I was in previously, it's much colder and there's much more students, and it's just much more stressful. You don't get to know your professors. There's a lot less leniency. There's no family, I guess, compared to my department and course. Especially if, is the heat getting to my head or something? And something I especially like about my course is how small it is, because we're so few. All of us in my batch, we all know each other. And then, as I said before, our profs know us, we know our profs. The professors are passionate about what they do. They're not just there, I guess, like some profs. I would say if you're already planning to come to Cebu, and I would say USC is I never looked at any other universities, so I can't exactly like know the specific details, but I do know that USC is the top university in Cebu. I would recommend the course if you're already planning to come to USC, but if you're in another country, I would say it's very dependent on your own reasons whether you want to come here or not. I can't exactly recommend whether you do or don't because it's very personal. If you do decide, just be ready for a lot of things and be open-minded and willing to deal with some of them that will make you very angry.
Special thing about my course, they are going to train you as if you are constantly in internship. They are going to make you, as I've said before, they're going to make you make websites, and they're going to give you deadlines. They're going to give you a client, and this client wants this, and you have to incorporate it into your website, and everything needs to be finished at this certain deadline. So that will essentially be the final project, and you will have a defense for it. The whole background of making these sites, prepare to have lots of fights. You're not gonna have family, you're gonna have enemies for the time being. Well, not everyone, but quite a few might be swearing at each other to do their job, or why is this not working, why is that not working. And it's a mutual understanding that we're all stressed out and we're all confused why the codes are not working. As I've said before, coding is your interpretation of the computer language. So sometimes you actually have to understand what the hell the other person is coding, so your code can also work with theirs. And sometimes it doesn't, so it makes this like weird miscommunication. The site doesn't work. Oh my gosh, we're all gonna fail, we're all blaming each other. And then at the end, guys, congratulations, we passed it. Oh my god, I love you so much. This is the most emotional experience, and then you finish and you enjoy your vacay just to start the new semester and do it all over again. That's basically what it is. It's a lot of stress.
What is one advice that you would give for international students trying to study here in Cebu?
I would say take initiative. That's number one. There's not a lot you can do in Cebu, if I'm being honest. I mean, there is a lot. I mean, there are things you can do, but if you want to have a niche hobby, it's not really like you can find your people right away. Like, oh, I want to have a radio club, or I want to find people who read books. You can try to find people who read books. It's going to be a bit difficult. So you got to find your people, right? You got to find your circle with your own hobbies. For example, if I want martial arts, if I want sports in USC, for example, there's not a lot of that culture. There is athletics and there's varsity, but there is no exactly a sports culture that happens in USC. Well, what I do, again, like I said, take initiative. Just because it's not there doesn't mean it won't be there. You started yourself. So I had to find people in USC, the whole campus with 5,000 people or even more. Found 20 people who also also fight amateur boxing. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna start a club together. So that's how we started USC Boxing Society. That is one thing you gotta keep in mind. You have to take initiative for everything, because you won't find what you want here. And also follow USC Boxing Society as a page. Thank you.
For me, I'd say just be open-minded. It's a life-altering experience, and for me, I would just say be open-minded, because you'll come across a lot of things different than how you think they should be, or different than what you're used to. And it really challenges your perception of the world. And
My one top advice would be just prepare to handle disaster. No matter what you do, even the simplest of things can turn into a chaos because someone else doesn't understand what you're doing. Whatever you think common sense is in your country does not exist here. Common sense here is different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? Basically, just adding to Gabe's, it's be open-minded, be adaptable.
If there were any advice that I would give, I would have a lot, but to sum it up, it is not very accessible for people with disabilities. I notice in this country, it's not a walkable city at all. There are barely any sidewalks. So you would have to use something called a Jeep here, which also isn't very accessible for people with disabilities. So you would have to do things that are very different over here. Yeah, if you're used to walking around, I know people in Europe, they're used to walking from point A to point B. However, you wouldn't probably need to take separate buses or separate Jeeps sometimes just to reach your own location. For me, I'm quite used to the heat because I've been in Egypt before. It's not the heat that I have an issue with, but it's more of the humidity. You feel the heaviness in your lungs. So if you hear us coughing a bit, it's literally the humidity getting trapped. We've been talking a lot and then we need to cough, clear our throat. It's actually just the humidity, which it's like this entire city is a sauna. So it's like the humidity is sticking to your skin. You think you're sweating, but really it's not. As Roy said before, take initiative. A lot of people, they are willing to just spend money on taxis just to go someplace where they found on Google Maps or whatever people recommended them online. But instead of taking a taxi, make friends with someone and then ask them, do you have have free time sometime, like could you take me around? I had one friend that took me from like literally one end of the city to the other end just through jeeps, and ever since I learned how to say stop, I learned how to say lugar lang. I learned how to say where like I want my destination. I learned if you are on a taxi or a motorbike, everywhere will pass so quickly, but when you're on a jeep, you get to take things slow and you get to explore new places that you haven't before, if you know what I mean. You get to see things and you're like, oh, that's interesting, let me visit that place, and it will actually benefit you a lot. Explore, take the time to explore, because really Cebu is such a beautiful country, not just online, finding places online. I know I say it's not a walkable city, but if you can, do take the time to.
If this episode gave you a real answer on whether you want to study or not study in Cebu City, then please let me know in the comment section. Now, for those that are already studying here in Cebu City, whether you are a Filipino or an international student, then I hope this episode also gave you an insight on what it's like to be a Carolinian here in Cebu City. And you can also share your other struggles that you also experience with your prospective university. If you want more episodes of me breaking down what it's like studying at University of San Carlos, I will make more videos for you guys. You just have to let me know in the comment section. In the future, I do plan on just showing you guys a full breakdown of my tuition as an international student, because I think that is something that is very informational, and it'll give a student an actual number on what it costs to live here in Cebu City. If you made it this far in the video, I really want to give my time to thank you for watching the entire episode. It was a longer video from my other types of videos that I've been posting. If you guys want to see what else I do besides just talking about studying here in University of San Carlos and in Cebu, then I have these other videos that you could also watch. So again, like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel, and see you guys in my next video.